Is this thing on? Welcome back to Big Mouth and fancy seeing you here. And I've just got off from a Twitter war with Mr. Tardis. I think most of you Doctor Who fans will know who Mr. Tardis is. This is a man who has been an extra in some BBC productions, right? He claims because he's been an extra, he has insider Doctor Who knowledge. Let me tell you something. An extra in the entertainment industry is no different to a toilet cleaner. A runner gets more respect than an extra. There is no way that an extra is going to have insider knowledge from Doctor Who or any other BBC production. This man has been the biggest defender of Doctor Who Season 11. Now that's up to him, but he's attacked a lot of fans who don't like Season 11. I don't believe if you're a real Doctor Who fan, and I don't think Mr. Tardis for no way, in no reality, is a real Doctor Who fan. He claims to be to get the clicks, right, and the views, and to get prominence. But at the end of the day, he's no Doctor Who fan. I don't believe any Doctor Who fan, real Doctor Who fan, could have enjoyed Season 11 of Doctor Who and called it Great Doctor Who. He keeps on arguing about the ratings. He's the kind of bloke who will tell you the sky is blue. You know when they used to say the world was flat, he could find a way to prove it. Any statement anyone makes, he wants evidence. He wants people to back it up. I don't have to back up my opinions, Mr. Tardis. The point is, you've attacked fans for not liking Doctor Who Season 11. Fact, Doctor Who Season 11 has undeveloped, unfleshed out characters. A doctor who's impersonating Matt Smith's Doctor and David Tennant's Doctor. A doctor who only got an actor who only got the role because she was mates with Chris Chibnall. An actor who claims she auditioned hard. The truth of the matter is, even if she did audition, and she did an audition, she did a few screen tests. No one else auditioned for this role, Mr. Tardis. It was hers. I don't blame Jodie. She was offered one of the biggest roles on television. Of course she's going to take it. But the buck doesn't stop with Jodie Whittaker, Mr. Tardis. It stops with Chris Chibnall. He is not good enough. He doesn't understand how to run this show. He's one of these people who thought, right, I've got a female doctor. That's it. I don't have to do anything else. When Jodie Whittaker speaks about Doctor Who, she doesn't talk about the nuance of the character of the Doctor. She doesn't talk about what kind of Doctor she's going to be. She talks about being proud that finally little girls can see themselves as the Doctor. Sorry, Jodie, but little girls have always seen themselves as the Doctor, right? I know this for a fact. But this is really more about Mr. Tardis and how he thinks he can explain away anything. Some fans have accused Mr. Tardis of being on the BBC's payroll or alleged it. I'm not alleging that. I don't even think they would bother paying him. His defence of this series is so bad, he has nothing to back it up with. Because the truth of the matter is, the BBC are not about ratings. That's not what makes them money. How the BBC listen, Season 11 of Doctor Who is the most expensive season. It's cost the BBC more green than any other season of Doctor Who. They haven't sold enough merchandise. They have reduced the the Doctor Who Season 11 box set 4 times. Who does that? And let's look at this now. Let's look at when this season was released. It was only released a couple of months ago, and already they've kind of reduced it. And if you go on Amazon Video and the price, I think it's about $5.99 now to buy the whole season, or a $10. I can't remember, but it's really, really cheap. They even had it on one of their special offers. People do not want to re-watch this show. The truth of the matter is, you can go all over YouTube and you can see people talking about why they didn't talk about Doctor Who. They didn't like Doctor Who Season 11. And not one of them talk about the Doctor being female. The point is, the show was bland, uninteresting, boring. It was 10 episodes of fresh air. And that's the situation. The Christmas special or the New Year's special was the lowest rated festive special in the history of the revival. But Mr. TARDIS has ways of explaining all of this away. Finally, he called me a snowflake. Me a snowflake, Mr. TARDIS? No, you're the snowflake. You're the one who attacks Doctor Who fans for not liking this bland, disinteresting entry into the Doctor Who canon. I can sit here all night talking to you why season 11 of Doctor Who wasn't good. But this man, honestly, right, I don't even know how the conversation with him started. He just started to turn up on my notifications with a few other people who were arguing with him. And this is the situation. The truth of the matter is this man isn't a Doctor Who fan. He's not. You may say, oh, I enjoyed the odd episode of Doctor Who season 11. But if you've been watching this show since the very, very first episode in 1963, how can you claim to say this is great Doctor Who? He will claim he enjoyed it, right? He apparently posted a comment on another video I did about him. But the truth of the matter is here, I am the sheriff of the Doctor Who fandom, Mr. TARDIS, and I'm fed up of you attacking people for posting opinions. At the end of the day, I'm not attacking you. I'm defending other Doctor Who fans who you've gone up against because they don't like this season. My advice to anyone talking to this man and trying to put their opinion across why they didn't like season 11, don't go into the ratings. He loves it. He loves talking about the ratings. The ratings were solid. They were going down as the season progressed, yes, but the numbers were respectable. I agree, Mr. TARDIS, but it's not really about the ratings, is it? It's about the content. Was it the expected quality that we've come to expect from the revival of Doctor Who? No, because people were bored. There was no banter between the companions, right? There was no banter between the companions and the Doctor. There was nothing going on of any significance. Rosa was the best episode, and Rosa is a really, really good episode. You had Casbro, right? The space racist, right? Now, in the past, I can guarantee you, if Russell T Davies was running this show and he introduced Casbro, he would have kind of reappeared in some episodes, and in the end, the Doctor would have taught him that his actions were wrong, and he would have learned, and maybe him and the Doctor could have become friends, and he could have become a better person. But according to Mr. Chibnall, apparently, once a space racist, always a racist. How many people do you know out there who have maybe been racists or sexists in their lives, who have learned from their mistakes? I was brought up in a very, very homophobic environment, and it was through watching Doctor Who season 1 and how Russell T Davies developed the Captain Jack character where I learned a better way. I fell in love with the character of Captain Jack, and I started to understand that everything that I was told as a child was wrong. You see, it's about education, isn't it? And some people don't believe people can be educated to change. I do. Russell T Davies proved that, right? But Chris Chibnall just wants to label people. We had the Trump guy, and we all know Arachne's in the UK, the Trump guy. Do you remember him, the guy from Sex in the City, right? Terrible stuff throughout this season. We didn't have anything. We didn't have an arc. What was this season about? Oh, it was that guy covered with teeth who looked like a rice monster, right? But Mr. TARDIS will defend it until the cows come home. In a way, really, it's kind of a waste of time talking to the guy, because he just wants to defend. He wants to defend the indefensible, but you can't. You can't, Mr. TARDIS, because the truth of the matter is, it's an absolute fail. And tell me, Mr. TARDIS, if the ratings are so good and the BBC are really happy with the ratings, why are they moving it from Sundays to Saturdays? If things were going well on a Sunday, why would they move it? Explain it to me, please. Explain it to me. The Mirror broke this story. Every time the Mirror have broken a story about the Chibnall era, it's been true. This is true, right? We know the rumours of a reduced episode, a haul of 6 episodes. The rumours that he's already been sacked. But according to Mr. Tardis, the reason there's no Doctor Who this year is to give Chris Chibnall the time to create his ultimate vision for Doctor Who, because he didn't have enough time the last time, did he? No. Of course he did. The truth of the matter is, Doctor Who Season 11, Mr. Tardis, is a failure. You know it. You didn't like it. But you have to insist, don't you? You have to pretend, right? You weren't this defensive about Stephen Moffat. You weren't this defensive about what Stephen Moffat was doing in his era. You were quite happy to criticise him, weren't you? He was posting a few links to me as we were arguing about how he's called out Season 11 for certain episodes. I think he's done one episode calling it out, right? But the truth of the matter is, Mr. Tardis, you are the great defender. You are the great spin doctor. You spun everything to make everything in the garden look rosy. You told us that the Season 11 box set went straight to #1. But how long did it stay there, Mr. Tardis? How much money has it made, Mr. Tardis? Nowhere near how the other box sets have made at this stage, right? Now, we have to remember that when Season 1 came out, it was literally on DVD and they were very limited editions, so you can't compare it to that. But if you go forward and compare it to the sales, they're nowhere near. Everybody knows this. Even Mr. Tardis knows this, but he doesn't want to admit it. So we're all wrong. Our opinions don't count. If you don't agree with Mr. Tardis, then your opinion doesn't count. But the problem is, Mr. Tardis, we're real Doctor Who fans. We're hurt by Season 11 because we love Doctor Who. We bleed when Doctor Who doesn't work. And Doctor Who Season 11 didn't work. Not because they cast a woman. Firstly, they cast the wrong woman. And they gave us the wrong showrunner. Now, Chris Chibnall did a great job with Broadchurch Season 1. But everyone knows Season 2 and 3 weren't as good because he started his SJW stuff. He started his Respect Whaman, right? We know what the agenda is here. Let me tell you something. I'm going to say something to all of you. If you are using the entertainment industry to kind of further your political battles, or if you're a creative doing that, or if you're a YouTuber doing that, get out of my industry. Get out of my industry. Shall I tell you why? Because I'm fed up of it. I'm fed up of you destroying what once was beautiful TV shows, beautiful films. We've got the Captain Marvel stuff. We've got the Brie Larson stuff. It's all poison. Films and TV have become poison. People like me forced to make videos like this because we've got people in our fandoms who do not care about our shows, but want to keep on creating poison. I'm sure, Mr. Tardis, you're a very nice young man. I'm sure you'd be great down the pub. But the point is, some of the stunts you've pulled towards other people who say they don't like Season 11 is an absolute disgrace. You have lost subscribers. You have lost supporters. I was an admirer of yours, Mr. Tardis, a big admirer. But and of course you don't care that I don't like what you do or what you say anymore, because you have become something else, and you're going to keep on digging yourself a hole and digging yourself a hole until you're so deep in it you can't climb back out again. What are you going to do when it's announced that Chibnall and Whittaker have been axed, that they won't get a Season 13? What are you going to do? What are you going to say then? That it was time to go? Are you just going to push whatever excuse they put out there? At the end of the day, these are the facts. The ratings don't matter. They don't. The BBC is a government-funded organisation. Ratings are the last things that matter. Of course, they want people watching their stuff. It's all about the money they make off their stuff. And the truth of the matter is, Doctor Who Season 11 is working off a minus, not off a plus. You know that, and I know that.